Hi friends, Deb Sofield here. You're listening to my weekly show called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker and trainer, and as a coach, I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, presentation skills, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. If your organization is having a conference and you need a keynote speaker, I'd love to be a part. You can find me at my website, debsofield.com. I've got a number of books on the market. My book series, Encouragement for Your Life, Tough Love Memos to help you fight your battles and change the world. They're available on Amazon, as well as my first book, Speak Without Fear, and my latest book, which is called Perfecting Your Platform. Just go to Amazon, type in my name, Deb Sofield, and all my books will appear. I've got a great theme today, and it's this: our friend, you are the message. Now you may say, well, Deb, what does that mean exactly? It means that when you communicate, it's not just the words you use, you're also sending signals about the kind of person you are. Stay with me, I'll tell you more. I'm Deb Sofield. Thanks for spending these next few minutes with me. Let's get started with today's show. So recently I was having dinner with a friend and we were talking about one's life being the message they send to the world. And it got me thinking about an title of an old political book I read, 100 years ago, by a guy named Roger Ailes called You Are the Message. It was a book for those considering a life in public office to remind us that every deed, every word, every action is a reflection of who we are and how we will be seen by others. From the Amazon website, about the book it says, You Are the Message. What does that mean exactly? It means that when you communicate with someone, it's not just the words you choose to send to the other person that makes up the message. You're also sending signals about what kind of person you are. So, you are the message comes down to the fact that unless you identify yourself as a walking, talking message, you're going to miss that critical point. See, the words themselves are meaningless unless the rest of you is in synchronization, the total you. See, that is how others think of and will respond to you once they hear, see, and understand who you are. I have to admit, it was one of the first books I had read that brought into light the idea of how you live your life, the words you use, your body language, your display is your message to the world. And you and I send them every day. So I got to say, for a kid of 12, that was a pretty big deal because I didn't really hear that type of message from my peer group or my teachers. Really, the only ones who reminded me of my responsibility were my parents. What I find interesting as a coach and trainer, both in the political and corporate world, is often I watch my clients from the sidelines. I observe how they, in a sense, show up in the world, and which they hope to master. Because friends, if you and I are the message, then I think we need to think seriously about the message we're giving to others. I started my radio show years ago, and the original show was called Speak Without Fear. I wanted to give the rules of public speaking in a weekly radio format because that's my love. And frankly, I see how successful you can be in being able to speak well. And really, it changes a life, a career, and a direction for so many if you can master the skills. But over time, it became clear to me that although my radio audience appreciated the information, they would write me and say, yeah, we kind of like the second half of the show where you tell stories on how to live your best life ever. Honestly, they wanted a reminder that they were amazing. They've done good things in their life, and for that, they should be celebrated. And if I had new information, I should share it in that format. Okay, I also realized that until you knew, believed, or were cajoled into understanding that, friend, hear me, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, that you are unique in the world. There is no one, and I mean no one, just like you. And you've been put here for a reason. And some of you just need to get going on why, or you will never fully comprehend the concept that you are the message. Think about what messages you're sending to your family, your friends, your colleagues, or those you interact on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. For some listening today, you're not sending a good message because your message is not defined. Your message might be diluted. And for some of you, listen, even you know it. Your message has become dull. I worry when a message is not defined because it's easy to become sloppy in your work, undisciplined in your habits, and unprepared for your future. But the worst part is that your message is then confusing to others. Because frankly, we all know we judge you by your actions, which speak louder than any words you will ever use. You and I are being watched and graded and judged. We know it. So let's not act like that's not happening. It is what it is. Now listen, I know it's not fair, but what are you going to do about it? So I encourage you to think about what message you are sending to the world. To get on the right path for success, you've got to commit to doing the hard work. And yes, it's always hard work until you get into the groove. Because friend, when you're not committed to your calling, you'll be careless in your work. You'll be all over the board with your ideas that don't work and jobs that don't pan out. And you'll miss opportunities because you've not defined your hope for your outcome. And that's a recipe for failure. When your message is not defined, it's easy to become undisciplined in your habits because you've not set parameters to meet and exceed expectations in your life. It's awfully hard to count on someone who's undisciplined because, well, we never know if you're actually going to show up and deliver. People who are undisciplined in their habits rarely do a good job twice. Oh, maybe you'll get by one time, but you'll not be consistent enough to maintain a following or measure up to a standard set by those who need you or your services. And if you haven't defined your calling, you could be limiting your future. There was a time when teaching public speaking got tiresome for me because I felt like I was beating my head against the wall when company after company told me, "Hey Deb, computers are the way of the future. No one needs to learn the soft skills of public speaking because if you can code, you'd have a job for life." Yeah, sure, you'd have a job for life. Hey, and it might be the perfect job for you, but what if you wanted more? Here's what I know. A lot of those good people have had the same job for life, never moving up, never living beyond their cubicle, never moving into leadership. Hey, and for some, that's their calling and they're happy. Please hear me. That's fine. All good. I'm glad they fit the need. But for others who just couldn't imagine living their career in a small box, those who believe in my age-old message that if you can sway the masses, friend, you can do anything. Those were the few who moved up the ladder into management and leadership. Not just sitting in a cubicle, which for many is all they wanted, so fine, okay? But I'm going to level with you. I had to stay strong on keeping on of convincing companies that recognize corporate leadership was built on good speaking skills. Had I given up or changed my direction, I probably would not be doing my life's work today. So why did I stick to my calling? Because I was definite in my goals and defined in my future. For so many listening today, your message is diluted because you do too much, my friend. You need to stop your multitasking and do your job well, and then do another job well, and then another, until you're amazing. Otherwise, the old line is true in your life that you are the jack of all trades and master of none. And your message is diluted because you're leaving pieces of you everywhere and nothing's making up the whole. And frankly, over time, that can't be working out so well for you. Some listening today might need to stop and get help in writing a plan and learn to stick to it day in and day out until you succeed. Is it fun? I don't know, but I'm telling you, that's what so many need to do to get out of the rut you have found yourself in. Whether it's financial, so you can secure your family's future by maybe saving more and spending less, or maybe paying your bills on time so you don't pay late fees, or by ending the cycle of more month than money by living within your means and not within your credit card limit. I learned early on that I needed to stick with what I do best and what pays my bills, even when my highly curiosity and fleeting ideas, well, they lie elsewhere. And listen, I admit I've done all sorts of things, but I keep coming back to the one thing I do well. I think it's okay but you've got to have a foundation. And once you become financially secure, then you can go off and see if your other passions will meet your paycheck. If I had to boil this down to perhaps my greatest concern for so many listening today, is that your message is dull because you've lost your passion for life. I see people every day who, by not having a plan in place or a map to follow or a reason to be, become absent in their own lives. Over time, you do the same thing every day. Every night, you're pretty much just running in place. You're going through the motions, but no life is being lived. It's like the lights are on, but no one's home. Come on. Your message should not be dull. Your life should not be so limited. You live in America, for Pete's sake, the land of opportunity. You can go and do and be whatever you want. Why are you living a lifeless life? And then why are you not doing something about it? Dear friend, get up and get going. Listen, I know a lot of people have hit a hard patch in life, but it will pass. And look at all the time you wasted. For what? I know many who are listening have been struggling with loss in your life. But believe it or not, time will heal the wounds, and memories, well, they'll grow more beautiful. I also understand that physical pain is more than you can bear some days. But friend, that should not keep you from doing the things you have dreamed of. See, I worry when I see good people who've grown dull of the things that life has thrown their way. And instead of throwing it back, they've allowed it to crush their spirit. And it leaves them a shell of their former self. So let me ask you, dear friend, what message are you sending into the world, to your loved ones, and even to yourself? Friend, you are the message. And if your message is not defined, or if it's diluted, or if it has become dull, I'm just asking that you take a few minutes today or this week. Stop. Figure out where you went off track. And then craft a plan on how you're going to get back to the place you remember. The good place. When you allowed yourself to dream, to hope, and then become the person you were born to be. Because remember, every deed, every word, every action is a reflection of who you are and how you are being seen by others. And I fully believe your calling is to be amazing. Anything less, it's beneath you. I'm Deb Sofield. You're listening to Encouragement for Your Life. Let's go to a quick break. I'm going to come back and give you some ways to keep moving in the proper direction, the direction of your dreams. Friend, what you've been called to do. Time is running out. Let's get moving. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Hi friends, Deb Sofield here. I'm a national speaker and an executive speech and presentations coach. I've been in the battlefield of politics and business for over 30 years. I know and understand how the game works. In today's marketplace, you don't have a choice. We're in the media age of Twitter, blogs, Facebook, and 24-hour news cycles. Either you move quickly and decisively to define your product, your company, or yourself, or others will define you. You can't afford to miss the mark, because the public won't give you a second chance and the media is unforgiving, and YouTube will replay your remarks until you've been ground into dust. Whether it's crafting your message to protect you or your company, or putting you on camera to answer the questions that will resonate with reporters and the public, or preparing you for an interview, let me help you be successful. I'm Deb Sofield. Find me online at debsofield.com. That's debsofield.com. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Deb Sofield, and you're listening to Encouragement for Your Life. As I continue on with the idea that, friend, you are the message, I think sometimes it's important that we, well, in a sense, we know what to say about ourselves, who we truly are, so we are a reflection to others of who we are on the inside. And I think for a lot of us, I've got an article here by Angel Chernoff, and I just want to go through it a little bit because I think a lot of what they say, and I will edit as we go, is really good as we consider how we are perceived by others, because that's a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So I have to ask the question, are you following your heart and intuition? See, the problem is so many people are pushed by their problems instead of being led by their dreams. Live the life you want to live is kind of the mantra you hear out here, but I gotta ask, are you? Are you the person you want to be remembered years down the road? See, I think if you'll make decisions now and make changes in your life, then act on them, your life can be better. Listen, we all make mistakes. We fall down, we get up again. Even if you have fallen down many times, friends, at least you know in your heart that you gave your dream your best shot. I really do believe that each of us have, I'm going to just use the phrase, a fire in our heart that burns for something. And I think it's your responsibility and mine, and listen, I'm talking to myself here, that we find it and we keep it lit. This is our life, and it's a short one. Isn't that funny? The older you get, the more you're like, yeah, it's getting shorter all the time. So friends, don't allow others to extinguish your flame. Try what you want to try. Go where you want to go. Follow your intuition. Dream with your eyes open until you know exactly what it looks like. And I think you should start practicing doing one small thing every week to make it a reality. This is a truthful radio show, so let me lay it on the line. In your life, you are going to have some pretty serious disappointments along the way. But friend, don't get discouraged. The road to your dreams, it might not be an easy one, but these are simply challenges. They're tests of your persistence and courage. So when you succeed, you will know that you did it for all the right reasons. I think it's real interesting. I've asked my audience many times, hey, are you proud of yourself? And it's funny, they look at me like, are you insane? And I'm like, no, because the reality is you need to be your best friend and your biggest critic. Stop worrying about the opinions of others. At the end of the day, the only thing that reflects back to you is your opinion in your own mirror. Some of you need to learn to accept yourself, everything about yourself, who you are, from beginning to end. No apologies, no regrets, no exceptions. Because here's what I know. People who have a sense of pride in themselves, they tend to have a passion for life. They feel content. They set a good example for others. Why? Because they are trying to grow and do big things. Now listen, I'm not talking about bragging about how great you are, although it does come easier for some of us than others. It's more like quietly knowing your worth. Yeah, your worth. It's not about thinking you're perfect, because really no one is. But are you worthy? Are you worthy of being loved and accepted? Of course you are. But see, here's the key. You've got to be yourself. Be the proud, confident, successful person you've been looking for, because that's who you really are. Now, another question I like to ask, and I ask this of myself, am I making a difference? I've got a couple radio shows called Act As If. And I think it's important that sometimes we act as if we're making a difference and then we go make it happen. Most of us in the work we do, our job is like to serve others, to help others. And the reality is when you help others, you help yourself. When you do something greater than you, man, it really helps you be a little bit happier because you know that you have achieved and then you won. Listen, you can't do everything, but you can do something. And I think some of us should do a little more than perhaps what we are doing. Why? And you may say, well, Deb, I don't have the time. Friends, some of you don't have the time not to. Because when you help others succeed, I believe you find a happiness within yourself. How you view yourself and your world are mindful choices and habits that you make. The lens you choose to view everything through determines how you feel about yourself and everything around you. Once you have developed the ability to be grateful, and I think it's a skill you have to work at, my friends, you'll always be happy. And if you're finding it hard to be grateful, then seriously, you need to sit down, close your eyes, take a breath, and stop and think about the good things in your life. There is nothing worse than somebody who has been given every opportunity that this country and the abilities that you have that have been afforded to you, and you're not grateful. Friend, it will change your life if you'll turn your life around. Judy Garland once said, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else. I agree with that. Friend, live by that statement. There's really no such thing as living in someone else's shoes. The only shoes you can occupy are your own. And if you aren't being yourself, They're not truly living. You're just existing, and you were made for more than that. I think it's also important that we continuously improve. You've got to take care of your body and your health. You surround yourself with positive people. You clean up your space. You make yourself as attractive to others as you would look to others to be attractive to you. And it's not just a physical. It's everything about you and who you are and the person that you are becoming. I think it's important that sometimes we stop and just realize probably the most valuable asset you and I have. It's not our money. It's not the things we have. It's our time. Time is the most valuable aspect of our life. Some of you should make time for what matters. Being in the moment. Find the passion in your life. Maybe if you can, travel the world. See the world around you right now. Do things with people you love. Go to places you've wanted to go. Eat amazing food. Savor life's pleasures. Remember, your time is priceless, and it's also free. You can't own it, but you can use it. You can spend it, but you can't keep it. And once you've lost it, you'll never get it back. You really only have a short life to live. So let your dreams be bigger than your fears and your actions, my friends, louder than your words. Make your time count. And you do that when you become honest with yourself, honest to what you are good at, and honest about what things need to be changed, honest about what you want to achieve and the person you want to be. Once you focus on being honest in every aspect of your life, every single day, you will be the person that can be counted on by others. Some of you need to spend some time to search your soul for the truth so that you know truly who you are. And once you do, I think you're going to have a much better understanding of how to equip yourself for the future and the direction you want to go. I've also known that in relationships, it's not measured in miles, but in affection. You and I know that two people can be right next to each other and miles apart. So friends, stop ignoring the people you say to me you care about, because lack of concern hurts more than any word you would ever use. Some of you need to pick up the phone and get in touch with those you say matter to you. Not because it's convenient, but because they are worth the extra effort. When was the last time you told a friend or maybe a family member that you loved them? Maybe spending a little time with someone shows you or shows them that you care. It shows them that they are important enough that you have chosen out of all the things to do in your busy schedule to make time for them. Talk to them, listen to them, and understand them. Many times it's our actions, not just our words, that truly speak to what our heart feels for another person. I probably can't end the show without pushing you a little bit on the idea of accountability. Friends, some of you just need to own your mistakes and the choices that you made. Make the necessary steps to either forgive or forget or improve. Take accountability for your life. Because if you don't, then you are leaving others dangling. When you don't, you are not becoming the director or the captain or the boss of your life. You're the only one who can really direct the outcome of your life in this current situation. Will it be easy? Absolutely not. Everybody has obstacles. But once you mature enough to take accountability, I think you'll see a change in those around you. Why does this all matter? Because I think you should learn and hopefully by the end of your days, have a life with no regrets. And you do that when you follow your heart, when you're true to yourself, when you do what makes you happy, when you are with those who make you smile, when you laugh as much as you breathe and love as long as you live. Some of you need to say what needs to be said. Some need to offer a helping hand when you're able. All of us need to appreciate all the things we do have in this amazing life. Today, starting today, smile. Celebrate your small and big victories. Learn from your mistakes. And realize this, everything in life is a lesson for us. So let go of things you can't control. Take control of the things that you can. Friend, forgive others. Just release that weight and walk into the light and live the life you were born to live. I know that I preach this a lot, but I do because I still meet people who want to tell me their sad sack stories. And all I want to say for so many is turn around, let me take that burden off your back. Now go live your best life ever. Because if you're not, you are shortchanging the life that God has given you. And friend, I wouldn't put yourself in that position if I were you. Absolutely not. I think I would step it up and make sure that I was living the life that I was given to the best of my ability. I would do what I was born to do, and so should you. All right, tough love show, I get it, but it's because I care about you. I'm Deb Sofield. You've been listening to Encouragement for Your Life. I hope you have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care, everybody.